Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster, and we are here for part 2 of What If Gon had Prey Sans' powers. Now then, I do hope that you did enjoy the previous video of this. Since this is a new What If, it does get 2 parts. So do keep that in mind. Also, from the responses I got from the comments in the last one, I am happy that you guys are enjoying this series. With all that said, please enjoy and make sure to take a look at all my other what ifs, each what if having its own playlist as well as a playlist on my channel that shows off the beginning parts of each and every one of my what if series. So, without further ado, as per usual, hit it. As you remember from the previous part, when we last left off, the entire running portion, which was the official first test of the Hunter exam after the preliminaries weeding out the, let's call them the non-worthy of the candidates. So, yeah. With that, they were met by 2 individuals, a young-looking girl and a very large, heavy-set man, who introduced themselves as Menchi and Buhara. Hopefully I said that man's name right. As they introduced themselves, stating that they were gourmet hunters. As a number of the applicants began to laugh and snicker about this does irritate Menchi. Gon not really looking surprised, though he looks back at his friends Liario, Kurapika, and Killua, asking why are they mocking somebody stronger than them, with Liario looking at him asking, what do you mean? As Gon remarks, these 2 are wolves. This not really computing, as Kurapika had to ask what he meant by that. Ever since being bonded to, well, ever since being given Sans' soul, he has gained some aspects of Prey Sans, who, in his AU, instead of living underneath a mountain, lived in a danger-ridden area filled with dangerous creatures. So, he gained a boost to his already incredible natural abilities of sensing things from other people, as well as various other things. As he begins to remark, people have a tendency to make me, well, feel like something referring them to an animal in terms of their strength. These 2, like the guy with the mustache from the last exam, were wolves. Liario looking at him, just wondering, what the hell? Are they really that strong? As they do become interested, but is cut off once the test is explained. They need to cook boar for them in a way that they both will accept. After hearing this, they think it isn't really that bad, and head off into the forest in order to get some pork. Though it doesn't take them long to realize there's only one breed of pig here, and it's not only carnivorous, it has a rhino horn-like snout. As some people are knocked off early on, and everybody is just running away from them. Looking back, Gon somewhat thinks, those their snouts kind of like rocks, huh? As some of the instincts from Prey Sands kind of kick in. Due to the monsters Prey Sands had to deal with, recognizing natural defenses and weapons were key in finding out their natural weakness. With a smirk, Gon leapt at the boars and smacked it on the forehead behind its large snout, revealing that was their weak spot, as everyone else followed suit. As everyone was bringing their pigs back in order to be cooked, Killua had to ask how did he know about the forehead being the weak spot. Gon stating, well, why else would they be needing such powerful noses to act like a shield? With Kurapika remarking, yes, that is quite natural. Animals will tend to evolve over several hundred to thousands of years in order to compensate for their natural weaknesses. With Leario stating, stop gabbing and let's get cooking! As the examiners see that they actually got back sooner than they thought, and a lot more applicants than what they originally thought there'd be, and start cooking. With the examiner from the previous test keeping an eye on them from afar. Everyone begins cooking, and it pretty much ends up the same as in Camden. Urahara is satisfied with all the meals, while Menchi isn't, failing all of them, stating that they all lose for not providing a dish that satiates her palate. As this made Godin think for a little bit, raising his hand asking if he could ask a question. She scoffed, saying, fine, ask. You're a gourmet hunter, right? So you eat food that would be considered made by a gourmet chef a lot. Either by yourself or by somebody else who cooked it, right? As he states, yeah, what about it? Gon just states it flat out. None of us are gourmet chefs, ma'am. As everyone just goes silent, and so far that you could just hear the wind blowing past them. With Bora laughing, stating, he got you there, Menchi. Her getting annoyed, yelling at them that they all failed because they didn't go to see about what the unexplored was, being in terms of cooking. This is when they hear a voice from the air saying that might be a bit much. As an old man jumps from an airship landing, introducing himself as the chairman for the hunter exam. Introducing Netero. As like in canon, he tells Menchi that she can't do this just because nobody made a pork dish that she particularly liked, and that the young man over there actually has a fair point. None of them are gourmet chefs. As she just apologizes, admitting that she got a bit too angry whenever the candidates mocked gourmet hunters. And Netero asked if she could redo the test, but with something a bit more reasonable. As she smirked, pointing at the airship, stating that they'll need the airship, explaining that they'll be going to Split Mountain. Netero laughs, stating, I believe that can be arranged, as everyone gets on the airship, taking a look around. As they are on their way, they see Split Mountain. Literally a large mountain with a giant canyon in it that goes clean through. Upon arriving, Menchi tells them what they'll be doing, which is gathering spider eagle eggs, pointing down into the canyon where the eggs are being suspended from the webs. As he jumps down, grabbing on to the web and waiting. Once he feels the time is right, he lets go and falls, grabbing an egg as he does, with a strong updraft, lifting her up and landing, stating that they need to get one of these eggs for the first part of this exam. With Gon extending his hand, saying, like this one? He teleported this egg. As Menchi looked at him, stating, when did you get this? Just now, handing it over to Netero. But I get what you're saying. And it looks like fun, finally. As Kurapika, Killua, and Legoshi are the first ones to literally jump off the cliff. With Menchi's eye twitching, asking Netero if she knows what exactly that kid just did. Netero shrugged, stating, not sure. What he actually did was teleport one of the eggs to him. There's been some comics and different AUs and such where normal Sans was able to teleport objects of a certain size to him. So it isn't that big of a deal for Gon to be doing this since he has Prey Sans soul merged with his. As the applicants jump off before he's able to explain anything further, they all latch onto the webs. Some people jumping off thinking they got this, only to find that the updraft doesn't happen all the time. As Gon begins to focus, with everyone looking at him, thinking he probably has the right idea and their best chance of passing this one is following his lead. Similar as in canon, the webs begin to snap from all the weight. And right before they snap, Gon says now, as they all jump off, grabbing eggs to have the updraft push them upwards, landing, as now she mentions that they now have to cook them. As they're boiling the eggs, Urara gives a reaction that tells everybody that the eggs are ready when they start popping. Like literally popping upwards in the water. As they grab their eggs and pull them out, they're allowed to open them up and eat. Which they find these eggs are incredible. The heavy-set examinee who mocked the gourmet hunters earlier was given the spare egg that Gon first grabbed. As he eats it and apologizes to Menchi, remarking that he's forfeiting this match. Well, in a way it was a match of wills, so he concedes and will attempt to take the hunter exam next time. Upon this, Netero states that since they're already here, he'll be taking them to the next part of the exam. As everyone is moved onto the airship, with Leorio needing to ask, hey Gon, you said those two in the other examiner were like wolves, right? What about that Netero guy? And us? Kurapika and Killua also becoming pretty interested in this. Gon began to think, as Kurapika thinks that Gon must be really in tune with nature or something to describe people like that. As Gon started out with Netero, it's kind of hard to tell. It's like he's a beast looking for something. How he acts, it kind of makes me think he's just looking for some fun. With Kurapika asking a beast, could you not come up with an animal to describe him? Gon looked at Kurapika, stating, that isn't it. I can't think of a single animal that could honestly compare to what I sense from him. It's surprising their group from what Gon just said. As Killua had to ask about them now. Starting with Killua, Gon said that Killua seems kind of like a snake, swift, silent, and deadly. With Killua smirking about that, laughing a bit. I suppose you got me there. As he looked at Leario, who was trying to do an intimidating pose. Gon just smiled, saying, you're like a dog. With this, Leario just, what the hell? A dog? Really? Yeah, you're not necessarily, well, violent, nor are you necessarily, harmless. It's kind of like a dog that's loyal and will lash out at those who threaten them or something they care about. Leario smirking, accepting this as a suitable description. Then he looked at Kurapika, who was a bit nervous to have what Gon will see him as. Lone wolf. Kurapika wondering, what does that mean? You have trouble, it's like you have a feel of isolation to you, and something predatorial, but isn't always present like some of the other people here. As Leario had to ask, well, who has that kind of thing? As he remarked Hisoka, causing Leario to flinch at that guy's name, still remembering the punch that he gave him. As he remarked, in a way he's similar to Mr. Netero, though it's different. It's like he has some kind of hunger that he won't be able to satisfy no matter what. Weird. As Killua and Gon go off together on their own, with Kurapika and Leario grouping up as well. Things go pretty similar for a bit, and Kurapika as well as Leario get some rest, remarking that Gon seems like a weird kid, but a good one. As Gon and Killua get something to eat and look out the window from the moving airship. This is when Netero sees them, glaring his hostility towards them in order to test them, only to go so fast that he's on the other end when they look back. Whenever he says hello to them, it isn't just Killua that notices that this old man is insanely fast, but Gon notices it too, as he sensed Netero's soul in one direction, and then it would appear in the other direction, faster than he could even perceive it. as Netero asked Gon and Killua if they would like to play a little game, bringing them into a padded room on the airship. As he describes the game that they have to get the ball from him, and he would only use his left arm and right leg. But first, there's some things I want to ask you. Pointing at Gon, he asked, "How did you get that egg when we first got the split mountain? You didn't even go into the canyon. Not only that, I've been informed you have some odd abilities. With this being the case, Killua was curious. He knew he had some abilities that would be odd to other people as well, but figured Gon had something similar. Gon stated, "It's hard to explain. I use magic." Netero can tell this kid isn't lying. He fully believes he's using magic. As Netero asks if he's ever heard of the Dark Continent, Gon remarks, "No, I haven't." As Killua states, "I have. A weird area. Probably the most dangerous place in this world. Not only that, but I hear that some people end up getting affected by it. And they don't even have to be at the continent for it to happen." Netero confirming this, as Killua remembers one of his siblings. Netero continues, "So, were you born with this, or not?" Gon shaking his head, stating, "No, I met someone. They were dying, but they thought they could trust me with something." It's kind of weird to say, or explain. It's hard. Netero not going into detail for him to explain the power per se, but asked about the person he'd met. Gon scratching his head, grabbing the hood, as he remarks, "Well, the one who actually gave me this ability is the one that gave me this hood. And he wasn't human, or at least, he at least was a human skeleton." Natural eyes widened, and Killua thinking, just saying, "Wait, what?" "Yeah, it was some weird smiley skeleton. He said he was dying, and he even crumbled into literal dust after giving me his powers." Netero thinking that it has to be something from the Dark Continent, asking what Gon can do. Gon states that there is one thing that he probably shouldn't use on this airship because he doesn't want to cause damage to it, but extending one of his hands as the green fishing lines come out of his hand. "I can make these. They come in handy. Plus, I can heal with them," as he draws them back, and closing his eyes as the marks go on his face, and his eyes change like how you see in the thumbnail. As Gon then turns on the scope eye, explaining that he can do this trick to help track people down as well as see from a pretty far distance. He was smirking as he states, "That's awesome." Wondering what kind of place is the Dark Continent, as both Netero and Killua think that Gon most likely ran into something from there. Not only that, that this, whatever it was, apparently was dying but wanted its power to live on. So, Netero accepted this, but asked about the egg again. Oh, I can teleport some things at a certain size to me, and I can teleport myself. Though there are some, well, there are some limits to it. I need at least a point A and a point B to work with, and some details like distance, difference in height between where I am and where I'm going. If I can see it, it's a lot easier. As Netero puts up a finger, stating, "Alright, you'll be banned from using that teleporting thing on the ball. Understand? It wouldn't be. It would end the game so soon. Not that it would actually bother Netero. He's so fast, if he went seriously, that even if Gon did teleport it, Netero would be able to swipe it back before it even landed in its hands." As the game began, as in canon, Killua did his trick, making it look like there were multiple Killuas walking around Netero, going off to try to get the ball. This ultimately fails, as then he tried kicking the leg, finding that it was like kicking a steel beam. Next was Gon, who blitzed straight for Netero. Seeing that Netero thinks that this kid seems pretty honest, as Gon teleports right in front of the ball, Netero quickly reacting to move. As he laughs, stating, "Not bad, kid. You had me so focused on you in that spot that you used that teleporting ability you told me about in order to get up and up to the ball as close as possible. Not a bad strategy." As we have Gon and Killua continuing this, with Gon having more and more trouble, as he can tell Netero's ability to sense what's around him is pretty crazy. With that, Killua just says he had enough. He's only been using one arm and one leg, and it's still making a mockery of them. As Netero acknowledges that Killua is right, laughing. Looking at Gon, he states, "I know that. I told you, remember?" Being confused by this, Killua smirked, stating, "Oh yeah, old man, looks like you can really hide what you were to Gon here." Gon remarking, "To be honest, the way you act and from what I feel from you, I never imagined I find a real wolf in sheep's clothing." As he just laughs, with the old man's eye twitching, stating, "Oh, really? Though, whatever I sense from you is far more than just a wolf." Netero choosing to take that as a compliment. As they now continue with their sparring, with Killua walking off. Same as in canon, two of the examinees try to mess with Killua after he bumps into one of them, only to have them be killed. That Gon gets further and further as he decides to pick up speed, headbutting him and then teleporting as he lunges in a completely different direction from Netero, teleporting but not losing the momentum. He does this over and over again away from Netero in order to pick up as much speed as possible. As he goes to headbutt Netero, he freaks worried about the kid breaking his skull on his abs, and uses his right hand in order to dodge, causing Gon to slam his head into the padded wall. With the added speed, this caused a noticeable dent on the outer part of the airship. As Gon was rubbing his head, he smirked, Netero not wondering why, as he states, "I got you to use your other hand." Looking at his right, he smirks, then states, "Suppose you got me there." You didn't quite win the way that the game was set, but you won by making me go against my own restrictions. So I'll give you that. As Gon was excited and passed out, as his wound was already healing. Netero looking at this, stating, so he can heal. Interesting. I've heard about some of what the Dark Continent does to people, and how it can end up or being quite troublesome. This is something else, something more positive. Though I am curious what he was talking about. He mentioned not being able to use something while on the airship. Smirking, he looked at the clock, asking the captain to slow down the airship in order for Gon to get some sleep. With this, I do hope you have enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the other What If series. Make sure to set the notification bell for all. And I will hope to see you for the next vid. Later!